Right. Welcome back to the channel, guys. And today's video is going to be slightly different. Now, as you have already seen the title, you already know what we are going to talk about. Now, there are many things that have come to light ever since I've made that past video about a similar topic. And that is the one I'll be discussing. Now, I already recorded this once, but I didn't feel me ranting about something is a good way to discuss this topic. I felt I should probably stay level headed, and this is not a video I want to make, but if I am going to make it, I would much rather do it right. Right, so recently it has come to my attention, and there have been just many articles, there have been many videos. I think Jim Sterling did a really good job with one of the videos. That's what I'm basing this on. And in those articles, it became very clear why we had Alexios as an option, why the Valhalla has these dual protagonists, and that even back in Origins, Aya was supposed to be the lead with Bayek getting injured or taken off. So I assume that would have worked kind of like Assassin's Creed 3. So first we get to play as Haytham, but then Connor. So in this case, it would have been Bayek, then Aya. Could have been great. We would never know. Same thing with Syndicate, where Evie was supposed to have a 50-50 share of screen time with Jacob, but that didn't turn out the same way. All I have to say about this is, seriously, Ubisoft, you feel that women don't sell well in video games? Because Horizon Zero Dawn did an incredibly good job. We had, I can't remember, there was a plague, there was a game about a plague, I cannot remember the name of it. Then there is Hellblade, there is Tomb Raider, obviously one of the leading franchises with women as their primary lead. So if those franchises can sell well, why can't Ubisoft franchises? Well, there is a very good reason for that. Well, apparently the higher ups at Ubisoft think female characters don't sell games. And they even cited that, Alexios was played 2/3 of the time. So why would we just sell a female character? Well, guess what, Ubisoft? You marketed Alexios about in the same ratio. I would say even more. About 80-90% of the marketing material was about Alexios and not Cassandra. Even the box art, it was a reversible box art, and I'm putting reversible in quotes here. It was a reversible box art, but it still had Alexios and not Cassandra. Hell, if you even boot it up on PC, like Uplay right now, I'll open Uplay. You know what? Can I record this shit? I can't. I don't have the capture mechanics, and I can just open it right now. But if I open that up, if I open up Odyssey's logo, yeah, that's Alexios, not Cassandra. The splash screen that comes up, again Alexios, not Cassandra. So when you are actively pushing one protagonist over the other, what the hell were you thinking would happen? So this is just a lame excuse from their end, I feel like, to justify this video. And after reading and hearing about all this, it becomes all the more obvious why these female characters were included. They weren't included in these games for representation purposes. They were included in this game to literally just get those brownie points. Now, in terms of internet, brownie points means when you're trying to appease to a group by telling you care about them, but when you actually fucking don't. And that seems to be the case here as well. Do they really care that Cassandra was a good protagonist and she probably could have carried the game on her own shoulders? Seriously, Cassandra is probably the best thing about Odyssey, and I fucking hate Odyssey. I have no qualms about that. I hate Odyssey. I hate everything the game has become. I hate everything the game has done, the horrible grind, the flashy combat, everything in Odyssey I hate. But if there is one shining spot there, it's Cassandra. Alexios, or the guy who played Alexios, did a good job as Deimos. Even in the DLCs as well. But this just goes to show that all these major companies, they just put these things out and they are like, yeah, we are all for representation. Well, they are not. What they are doing is known as pandering. And that has also been in contention for a while. So now many games we have seen, the audiences hate it, but the critics love it. So now usually the critics cite that, oh, there is a female protagonist here. It is something new. It is something different. We like it because there's a female protagonist, because the character doesn't have a dick, essentially. But people who actually play the game don't care about that. What they care about is writing, which in most cases are horrible, because they didn't actually want to make this character. They just want to do the bare minimum and get away with it. Look at Odyssey. Just did the bare minimum to get away with it. Yeah, they had to record the lines twice. Yeah, big fucking deal. You didn't even bother to write the lines properly. There are severe disconnects in the story. I'm playing Odyssey again. I kind of feel like it could have been a much better game. But when I start playing it, it feels very obvious that some of the lines are very disconnected. Some of the lines could have gone in a separate way had we just had to focus on that one character. And we didn't have that opportunity because some idiot executive thought it was a great idea to just shoehorn in one another character because people might get pissed that there is no male option to play as. Well, 90% of the people don't care about that. 90% of the people care about the kind of characters you're putting in the game. If they are good characters, then we will play as them. We will happily accept those as great characters. There is one example I'll put where one of the characters, even though, so now I am putting female characters in this because that is kind of what I want with this video. Doesn't mean that I don't understand that these guys are literally pandering. That I just said, I know they are pandering. Now, one of the characters in Red Dead Redemption 2, Sadie Adler, I genuinely wanted her to play as her. Now, does that mean I don't like Arthur? No, I love Arthur. Arthur is probably in the top 5 characters of all time in my list. But Sadie Adler could have been as well. Now, maybe we'll someday get a game with Sadie Adler in the helm. I'm not holding my hopes too high, but yeah, we might get that. But that is just my point. People just assume that most of the gamers, they will react badly to games having a female character. Most gamers react badly to games having a female character is because some of the games have done it in a pretty shitty way. Case in point, Odyssey. Now, what they usually do is they will show you a part of this narrative. So this is the tactic that the AAA industry uses essentially. They will show you a female character. They will show her in a, I'm using quotes here. I can't actually show you the quotes, but I'm using double quotes here. Empowering positions. And then they just serve as the same cookie cutter bullshit they do in literally every game. There is no nuance to that character. If anything, they will just try to shoehorn in some elements just so that the critics will praise them and they know it will piss some people off. And guess what? Negative attention is still attention. They profit off this shit. It is a very good marketing tactic for them. Get the people to hate on the game before it releases and it will probably sell well. Did The Last of Us 2 flop at launch? No, it didn't. But did many people hate it? Yes. Did people hate it because there was a female character? No. Absolutely not. Hell, so that is where I have a problem with. So there is this huge divide which the AAA industry profits off of. That is between the critics and the players. That is us. So now, if you have seen Angry Joe's video on The Last of Us 2, he didn't quite like it. I think he gave it a 6 out of 10. And he was immediately called sexist. Because that's where our world is at. If I don't agree with you, then you are a horrible person, you are a Nazi and all that. Some guy even called me a white supremacist on, I think it was Facebook or something. And I'm not even close to being white. I am very, very brown. And this guy was like, oh, you are aiding in their supremacy and all that shit. And I just don't like this about our world. It's like if we have differences in opinion, we can sort them out by talking. We can sort them out by listening. We can sort them out by having a common ground. But no one is fucking interested in having a common ground. Or at least that's what I've learned in my 24 years in this god awful planet. This is the civilization, seriously. This is what we were working for, where you say anything and it immediately either pisses off one side or the other side or both. No one actually cares what you're trying to say. They just want those keywords in there. Everyone behaves like a fucking robot nowadays. You absolutely need to have some keywords in whatever you are speaking, otherwise you're considered racist or sexist or any other ist. I don't care. And that carries over to video games as well. So now what these companies are doing, these companies are literally just putting these characters in to avoid criticism, to avoid controversy. And they don't care if their primary player base gets angry because we are still buying the games. I mean, I really don't like Odyssey, but I already paid for it. So do they fucking care? No, they don't. And that kind of has me on a pause in what if I should actually buy Valhalla as well. Now, from what I've seen in this game, it's doing the same shit that Odyssey did with its characters, and now we know why. That is what this video is primarily about. I thought I would have a lot of things to say about this, but I really don't. I am just pissed off. I was really pissed off. The last rant that I recorded went on for half an hour. And that's what made me reconsider making this properly. So what is my point? My point is, maybe guys, just we should not be assholes. Because guess what? If we buy into their beliefs, we are assholes as well. We are actively promoting what they are trying to sell us. If you played as Alexios, that doesn't make you a bad person or anything. Those are some stupid, shitty people who say that. What I'm saying is, if you played as Alexios and if you saw that the story felt kind of disconnected, disjointed, there is a reason for that. It's because it is not Alexios' story. It was literally ham-fisted in. It was not Cassandra who was ham-fisted in, it was Alexios. And I'm probably guessing it was not the female Eivor that got ham-fisted in, it was the male version of the Eivor. So before we go and denounce like, oh, this is just some SJW propaganda in these games, I don't know, maybe just give them a chance. Maybe show these companies that they are fucking stupid and they are idiotic to think what they are thinking right now. These people will make us believe that we don't want these characters. We don't want these potentially well-written characters. We don't want change to happen, which is not true at all. In fact, if you see a narrative that is being pushed in this particular community, in Assassin's Creed, is that, oh, the older fans just don't want change. No, we do want change. What we want is evolution on what we saw. What we don't want is you ripping off of games and calling them their own formula. We didn't want a lazy Witcher ripoff. We wanted genuine evolution. Something these companies don't fail to understand. Again, I would stress on this point. Do you really think the people who earn that much money are dumb? They are not. They are actively pushing these kind of images or these kind of discussions so that people think that they don't want this. Well, we don't care what they think. Should we care about what they think? Can't we think on our own? I mean, surely we all have brains, right? I mean, I had one guy, I'm not calling you out or anything if you're watching this video as well. Now, he said that, this whole Viking female warrior thing is just bad and it is not true and all that, and that it wouldn't make sense in the time period. Dude, this is an Assassin's Creed game. We are jumping out of 300-meter tall buildings into haystacks and surviving. Do you really think that having female characters is the most unrealistic thing in this world? We have fucking gods. We have pieces of Eden in this. Having a female character as a lead is not the most unrealistic thing in this. And plus, do we really want a very, very realistic game? Do you actually want a game which represents exactly what the Vikings did? Because I'm pretty sure you don't. I'm pretty sure no one wants to know how exactly the lives of the cowboys were in Red Dead Redemption 2 in that time period. We don't want to know how brutal exactly the streets of Paris were during the French Revolution. We don't want to know the horrors that the soldiers faced during World War II. We don't want to know that. We want to see some of that. We want to see some immersive experience which kind of shows us what it is like, but not really depressing us. Because guess what? All these time periods were depressing as fuck. Even our own time period is, but that's a separate thing entirely. If you actually want to live and breathe in these worlds, you will find these worlds were all not all that great. So yeah, there is always some leeway in these games. There is always some gameplay system in these games that kind of pull it away from these settings. That doesn't mean the game itself will suffer for it. That doesn't mean the story itself will suffer for it. And if you're someone who is like, yeah, I don't want to give these characters a chance because I just feel like one massive propaganda machine, I can understand where you're coming from. I do agree where you're coming from. Many of the franchises that I watched have been completely ruined by these kind of story writers. Star Wars, you can take Terminator. I mean, we were laughing the whole time when we saw The Last Jedi and when we saw what was the new one? The Rise of Skywalker. I think I even saw The Last Jedi with my father. And I was laughing the whole time because it was so dumb. Now, does that mean we had to cancel every single franchise that just has a female lead? No. Because how would we know? Like right now, the rumors even say that Aya was supposed to be the lead and Bayek was the initial character that we played as, but eventually we get kind of switched as he either gets injured or dies. I'm not saying Bayek's story, what we got, is not good. Hell, Origins literally is in the second place in my list of Assassin's Creed games. I've made an entire 1.5 hour long video about that. I like Bayek, I like his story, but just imagine the kind of story we could have gotten with Aya. I mean, would it have been a bad story? No, we don't know. We never got it. And that is what these companies thrive on. They never give us stuff and they say that, oh, you probably just don't want it anyway. Well, give us the option, then let us decide if we want it or not. Don't just preemptively assume that we don't want something. Don't just preemptively assume we won't buy a game just because there is no male guy on the cover. Because honestly, I don't care. And from most of the people I have talked to, interacted with, no one actually cares. What people do care about is you pandering to some people. What people care about is you developing a shitty ass character just to put a character in a game. That is what we care about. So yeah, that's all we have learned. We have learned that literally the only reason why Alexios even exists is because one higher up in Ubisoft thought that Cassandra wouldn't sell well. Same goes for Valhalla as well. So I guess we have the answer to why we have dual protagonists. I don't want to make videos like this. Hell, I probably won't make any more videos like this. I just made this video because it kind of follows upon a video that I already made. I kind of wanted to end that. Now, I won't tell you to like this video. I won't tell you to subscribe to my channel just because of this video. What I do want you to do is think. What do you want? Do you just want to have a male guy on the cover, a male guy as the playable option? Do you want to have just a female character there for the sake of it? Or do you actually want a well-written one? Do you actually want a character that you can connect with? Do you actually want a character that absolutely makes sense? That was well-written, that is actually a part of the story. Do you want a character like that? Well, then you have to put money where your mouth's at. And this has seriously, after all of that has come out, it has seriously made me reconsider even buying Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It has. I know Ubisoft is going through some massive structural changes in their organization level, but even with that, it doesn't change the fact that they didn't care for so many years. They gave that guy leeway to do anything he wanted. And I don't know if I want to support that. And plus, 2 days later, we have a game called Cyberpunk coming out from some developers who actually care, who actually don't need to put 2 fucking layers of DRM in their games and make the performance suffer on a PC. That's just it. That's just how it works. So yeah, I don't think I'll be making any more Valhalla videos for now. I will be playing Black Flag because I like that game. I already bought it, so why not? I mean, Ubisoft already has my money for that, so yeah, I'll play that game. But if there was a slight chance that I just didn't want to buy a game, well, this has finally put a nail into that coffin. That also goes for Watch Dogs Legion. While I feel that Legion is probably the only game coming out this year that is actually innovating something, Cyberpunk is an innovative game, but we have seen games like this before. In case of Watch Dogs, we haven't really seen these kind of mechanics before in a game. So, yeah, I do feel Watch Dogs is a huge innovation in terms of game design. But I just, after hearing all this, after hearing what kind of people these games have come from, what kind of people actually helped make this game, I don't think I'm all that interested in supporting it. Yeah, so for now, peace.